Hey, how you doing? Alright, let's do it. Okay, dokie. Okay. Sorry about that. Well, allergies a little bit. Just give me a second to get a drink. Just gotta make sure. Now we did Dr. Lasker. Alright, here we go. This is the Petrov defense that we're gonna be doing. Okay, let's see. How are we doing? We're gonna be doing the Petrov on. This is a game between Frank J. Marshall. Frank J. Marshall is black, and H.N. Pillsbury is white. This is my first encounter with the immortal Pillsbury on an even term. I began to play for equality. But then I saw an opportunity to go in for a combination with a parent which took him by surprise, which apparently took him by surprise. Hey, how you doing? Hi. We're going to be going over a Pillsbury is white and F.J. Marshall is black. Frank J. Marshall. So it's going to be a Petrov defense setup that is played. So he's black, Marshall's black, and Pillsbury's white. Gotcha. All right. So All right, and then they played D4. I've never seen any reason to fear this move, although it was much favored by Steinitz, Pillsbury, and I think it's I don't know if this. I don't think it's Tikrosian. I think that's his name, Tikrosian. And so it does a secure advantage to gain basically your knight towards the center. It's kind of a this isn't usually what's played that much. You usually actually play this here, and then you can play here, and then you can go into the main line of the Petrov if you wanted to, and then yeah. Yeah, it does have some traps in it. If you're not watching, the Petrov does have some traps in it. Okay, but he actually went for this kind of right now. Yeah. Oh yeah, that line. Yeah, this line here. If you take Queen E2, Knight F, and then Knight to let me see, Knight F6, and then Knight D, um, C6, and you check and you pick up the queen. It happens, or this type of idea does happen. You kerplunk the queen, yeah. It's fine. Yeah, that's the oldest trick for the Petrov that happens if they get too takey. So knight takes. I want to make sure I do this right. So b4. Wow, he played this line here. D pawn takes the pawn. Pawn takes the pawn. And then bishop to c4, c6. Wow. There's this, he was talking about, there's this check here. Or there's a line where you can just plainly just take that. Yeah. Exactly. That's true. You don't really want to play. You want to play for positional advantages, not traps. One that has a really cool trap is actually the Scott. The Scotch game has a cool trap in it too. You can actually win a bishop with a double attack if the opponent doesn't watch it. I actually did that one time, and I was able to win that way. I got a bishop for free. It happens every once in a while. You never know when you're gonna, as I like to say, get a blessing that a trap actually works. Yeah. So check there. So now this pawn actually guards here. So the pawn b3, queen c2 check. If now, and he's saying though, if this, let's see here, Pillsbury played bishop to king here. He's saying though, if you took there and you played queen takes queen check, black stands well for an ending, because what'll happen is if we take here, 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 and then we potentially castle, we stand better because of our pawn structure. Our pawn structure is intact, and our opponent's pawn structure isn't intact. See, he's got 3 pawn islands, and our king at the moment safer. But you can always play rook e1 if he tries checking, castle by hand to f1, and not much to show for any of that, so we don't want to do that. So potentially maybe better might be bishop g4, might have actually be the bishop, yeah. Almost. And then if he comes here, then you can just grab it, give out the bishop pair for fractured pawns galore. And then you just play around the weakness of the pawns and say, hey, you know what? Let's see if we can't get some weaknesses via here and get our rooks moving. So you just play for weaknesses. Yeah. So that's kind of one of those. That's kind of what you have to be on the lookout for, and that's what Pillsbury actually saw. Was he didn't want to go into a 3 pawn island setup. He wanted to kind of keep it as solid together as he can. This is a young Marshall versus an older Pillsbury. So pawn takes, and I think the whole point too was he didn't want to trade into an endgame. I think that's the reason he moved his bishop back. He wanted to try to stay in the middle game as long as possible, and that'd be a wise decision, especially when he has 3 pawn islands. Yeah, you have to always think of that. Bishop to queen b. Bishop. Queen. Oh. What did I do here? What did I do? Hold on, let me see about this. Yeah, that's right. So that was right. Okay. Pawn's right. That check was right. That pawn takes. Pawn takes. Ah, got it. Sorry, I'm doing the English notation instead of algebraic, and I just have to remember which bishop, because there was one was to the king side and one was just retreating back. So I had to make sure I was doing the right one. Otherwise, it doesn't go right. Then it's like, that's not fun. Castle, so pawn. So now Pillsbury's making a good setup, basically on. Yeah, I'm okay with it. It's just sometimes when they say bishop b, no, it was let me see, what was that? Bishop line, queen, bishop b4, and I have to remember that this bishop can actually come out to the king side, and when this bishop was here, it could come up here. So you got to say which one to move, and you just got to make sure you're doing it right. I find it's a really accurate system, so it's pretty accurate. It's just you have to get used to it. I haven't used it in a while. That's kind of why I'm also going into the book. I'm teaching myself the notation better. And I'm getting faster. I'm trying to do this, interpret this notation, and then describe it for you on here. It's like, ugh. But it's fun. So now, but what is actually white gained? White's gained a pretty huge space advantage, in my opinion. This pawn, his c pawn now protects his d5 pawn, and at this moment, even though he has 3 pawn islands, it doesn't really hamper white or hurt white at all, because he's still in the middle game, and the middle game is a vital point for white. I mean, the end game for black, the end game's good because of course, the pawn structures. We know that, but black has better space in the center. So I mean, white has better space in the center. That's what I mean. So he's going to try to push. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And that's the whole goal. So white's basically going to develop and set up a position like this, and then potentially get a rook over here, double up his rooks via this way, and have rooks here, knight here, a bishop there, and try to get a setup like that and see if he can't crush his way through. Of course, after the queen moves, he would do that. Bring his other rook here and here like this, and then be powerhouse. So I even though white has a shattered 3 pawn islands, I prefer white at this moment. I like white. White has better chances because of the stranglehold in the center. So white, in my opinion, is doing okay. Rook to king 1. So now he's trying to go after this bishop double attack. I have 2 attackers on it. Bishop to d3. This is an idea, and then getting a bishop here, queen here, and potentially Harry, up the board we go. Hooray. Queen to knight 5. Let's see, what was that? Oops. Wrong one. Oops. Pin. Yeah. After white, he actually played bishop to b2. And this, if interesting thing, he calls this a mistake. This was actually, in his opinion, a mistake at this point. He's saying that a worse idea would have actually been rook here. This would have been an even worse idea. This gets a double question mark, and this is actually a double question mark move. Would lose a piece after bishop takes knight. That would lose a whole piece. That's what he's saying. So it'd be terrible for. That'd be a horrible setup. That's what he's saying. So b2, bishop b2. I think it's all based upon because he loses the pin now. He doesn't have a pin here anymore. And I think it's also because of the knight too. I think the whole idea was based on the knight. But the knight could actually come in here and then outpost there, so. Knight to knight 5. And then white played, again, a really blunderish move. He played queen knight to d there. That's another mistake. I can't believe Pillsbury made those two bad moves. Not bad, but mistake moves. Not good. And then knight took. Then he went kerplunk with this and played knight takes f2. Exclam. That's talk about forcing moves. Boom, right there. That's a forcing move to the 18th level. Bishop takes, king takes, and then queen to e3. Check. The king has to go, of course, to king to knight. If he comes to... Sorry, oops, not there. Delete. If he goes down, the piece gets taken with check, and it's horrible. So that's actually a beautiful forcing combination. You gotta love that. That's just beautiful. That's so beautiful right there. Wow. King takes the bishop. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna ask you, Chess 360. What do you think Black's move is here? It's an exclam. What do you think Black's move here? It's an exclam move. Black to move, it's an exclam move. No. Think about the king's safety. What is weak in black's camp? White's camp? What's weak? What spot is not defended right now? In white's camp, what spot is not defended in white's camp? I'll highlight it for you. G2. That's right. So what piece would you love to kerplunk right here? What piece would you love to kerplunk there? Yeah, kerplunk. And now you're like this is just devastating to white's position. Yeah, it looks like it's overextending, but it's not really overextending. Because if he comes here, you always have this idea of checking, and then even if he comes over, you have this here. So if he comes back here, you actually have this here, and if he comes over, then you have mate and 7 with a check. You can actually check and do stuff like that. Not maybe not mate 7, not like that. Something similar to. I think there's something better. Let me see. Hold on. I think it has something to do with. Let me make sure I'm not seeing this. So, okay, H5. So H5 to actually set up the mate. King to Rook 3 was actually what was played by white. And then knight to D7. He's saying simpler than what he played would have actually been to have played H5 here. Queen to be also queen F5 would be good, and trying to, let me see here. Oh, queen. Oh, I see right here. He was talking that if queen takes, this is actually an interesting move. White could have thrown this intermediate move in with queen takes, and then had played knight E1. I mean, not knight E1, rook E1. Sorry, and then. Queen to queen 6. Nice. So he's got to really play this. I think, let me see, what gives him the best choice? Is it something to do? Okay. Queen takes G, that's why. Alrighty. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting setup. I like going over these. Some of these notations are a little hard, but he's basically considering that this could have been a playable idea if need be. Yeah. That's a playable setup. Okay, so 18, rook b1, rook c1, sorry. Now the pawn push is coming into play. Now there's no more back rank threat idea, so white's hope is all but vanishing slowly away of any counter play. What he's playing on here is if the queen were to take, then this would actually just trade down more material, which just helps white, helps black. Well, if rook takes, then you actually have the idea of knight takes, and use up material. Oops, I have to promote this. Yeah, queen takes queen, which was talked about here. Knight takes, rook b2, like what was talked about here, and then pawn at g5 is actually huge. Pawn to g5, exclam, and then king there. Exclam, and wins. So that wins right there. That's what he's saying. It's winning. So G3 was actually played trying to give the king a flight square, because what's going to happen is G5, and I don't really know if there's really, he doesn't have a flight square there. Now I see the power of this rook coming to E2. Wow, does it do a lot of damage there. Wow, 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 wow. There it comes. Tree 5, Kapow. Knight 4. He says desperate. There is no defense. Rook takes the knight. Queen takes queen. Rook takes queen. And rook b3 at this point. b5. Pow. Or f5. Pow. It's like boom. King to knight 2. Or king g2. Bishop pawn takes. Knight takes. And then rook to queen to check, and it's resignation right now. It's all over. Boom. And he beat the mighty Morphy. Erase the not Mighty Morphy, sorry, he'd be Mighty Palesbury. Yeah, he's gonna next one we do tomorrow. White is Marshall, and he's facing Almas Burn. He's facing Burn as black. So I'll do that tomorrow, and we'll do some puzzles now. Where was that? Oh, back here. Oh yeah. This one here. Let me get to it. Oops. Yeah, it's all based on forcing moves. It's all based on forcing combinations. Like boom. And then a lot of things arrive on either E3 or E6. A lot of attacks happen along that diagonal, I've noticed. Alrighty. Perfect. White to mate 2. There you go. Yep. Okay, 2 rooks. No queens. And then let's see. That's good. That's good. 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 There. Yep. Now do the other. Do it. Do the other mate. What's the other mate? Do the other mate. Do the other checkmate. Yeah, there we go. There we go. It works. It works both ways. Who'd have thunk, huh? It's like wow. You rarely get to have that very often on the board. That type of fun actually arrives on that board for sure. Let's see here. Okay, come on, boom. Ding. Let's see. I think there's a. No, it's a white pawn. Okay, so rook, bishop, and pawn. There we go. And then the king is on E. So I think we got it. Let's see. There. Yep, we're good. No, actually the rook takes doesn't work. The rook takes. Oh, I guess you're right. You're right. Hey. No, you're right. Yep. Sorry. Yep. That's right. Yep. Good find there. Good spot. Yeah. Exactly. They are getting more like what you were saying. Oops. Elaborate. Oops, I have to move these over. Yeah, they are pretty interesting. They are interesting positions. So let's get a king. Let me make sure I have this right. Okay, three, 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 four, three, one. Yep. Okay. Mhm. Yep. There you go. Most forcing moves. You gotta be forcing. All right. This one's a pretty cool one. This mate's a pretty cool mate. Yeah. You don't get to see that every day. Boom. And then bam. Don't get to see that every day. Alrighty. This one's a fun one too. This one's fun. Do you kind of see it? Oops. There's, yep, the first mate. There you go. Yep, you got it. Nice job. That was great. Now let's amp it up. Action Man, amp it up. C3. There we go. There's the first one. And there's the second one. Yep. Nice job. Okay, gotcha. Yep. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, I just had to move the king to the right spot. Thought I had the king in the right spot. Good. Everything else is right now. Yeah, mate and 2. You got it, mate and 2. Mate and 2. Yep, mate and 2 only. Surprisingly, it's mate and 2 only. I checked there, I have triple, quadruple checked the positioning of them too, and it's 100% correct, the positioning that he has it in. And I've looked at it, and every piece is right that's there. So there's a mate and 2 somewhere here. Maybe something to do with that. No, that can't be. Do you got it now? Let's see if you found it. Let's see if you got it. There you go. Both of them you got right. Those were tough. Good find there. But yeah, you found it, and that's what matters. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that there was a mate and 2, so I checked it with the engine, and there was a mate and 2. So, and it was the one that we just did. So I made sure that I wasn't setting it up wrong. Sometimes I do that. I don't mean to set it up wrong, but it happens. My intent is not to set it up wrong. Okay. Alright, let's see here. So 2 there. So 2 there. 0 here. 2, 4, 2. Ah, almost forgot a night. That would be helpful. Okay. 3 there and 3. So 2, 2, 2. There's nothing there. 3, 2, 3. Alright. Alright. Let's do it. Okay. We got it. Yeah. It's actually rook takes. If he doesn't take, if rook doesn't take, then it's not this. Yeah, this is the difference, right? Oops, sorry about putting two double checks in there, but checkmates. But that's the double checkmate. Double checkmate. Oh, that's funny. I had to do that right because that looks funny. I don't like doing it. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Now that's better. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Okay, so we already did that one. We're on to this one now. I don't like when they add a lot of pieces. It's like harder than heck to put them on the board, but it's worth it though, because then you get to have fun and do it. So I enjoy doing that. So here. Let's see, bishop, king, knight, white knight, black pawn, white pawn. Let's see, a queen on the white, right there, and then a rook. Oops. So 3, 1, 4, 1, 1, 1, and then 4. Perfect. There we go. White to mate 2. Yep, that's right. There's that one. If he takes 96. Yep. Nice job. After this one more, and then we get to go into our cat and mouse. See some more of that. Bako versus Viktor Korchnoi. Yeah, there's a way of saying it. I don't think I say it right. It's like Viktor Korchnoi. Yeah. Yeah, winning patiently. Yep. That's that's what we call it. Yeah. I like that better. Or the cat and mouse, but that's that. Otherwise, winning patiently would be a cool chapter name, so that's where they get the cat and mouse from. That's a an charged chapter, and then everybody would be like, I want to see what that is, because you know, I mean, cat and mouse type of thing. It's like, oh, all right. But I like winning patiently is better. I like that better. All right. Let's see here. Make sure I have this right. Yeah. And black white is in a pin. So like that with the knight. So. This is an interesting one. You're gonna have to go deep for this one. No, not that. You're gonna have to go pretty deep for this one. I think, let me see, maybe that is, let's see, is that? I think you're right. I think that is the move, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I gotcha. Yeah. For some reason I was thinking king here, but then I realized that, yeah. Yeah, I realized that it's actually that he could check there. I was thinking that king comes up, but I agree with you. This queen takes, and that's mate. Yep. And if queen takes here, the queen takes is mate. Yep. But yep. So there's the lines. Yeah. And that's what you gotta do. It has to be worked out one more board, and then we're good. Okay, pawn time. Set up the pawns. Okay, set up the pawns for white. Boom, boom. Okay, we're good. Alright, now I gotta mark the next part. Boom, nice job. And there you go. Okay. Here comes the mighty Viktor Korchnoi. It's going to play the mighty Banco. So let us do it to it. This is our endgame studies. I've waited to see this one. I want to see this one. If you were Banco, what would be your first move here for white? It's a cat and mouse setup. I'm just gonna give it to you and see what you think your first move would be for white here. Or I'm sorry, patient developing move. Patience. You have to have patience. What are you thinking that Banco might have played here for white? I like your Knight D4 was actually right. Congratulations on finding that. It's a tough one to find. This is speaking from the mouth of Banco. Banco said, "I was willing to trade my bishop for his knight because I felt that ultimately my knight would prove itself to be more useful than my opponent's bishop." And this is so knight check, bishop takes, white. Banco is white. Banco is white and Viktor Korchnoi is black. And this is 1962 in Curacao. It's Curacao. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's where they played. Bishop takes, and then rook c2. He wants to double up and put pressure on this rook here. Bishop a6. Rook hc1. Rook takes rook. Rook takes rook. And then king d7. And Banco played e5 here. Trying, this is what it says. In such positions, this is Banco. In such positions, little things make all the difference. Here, I am gaining central space, getting my pawns off the color of black's bishop, and by preventing e4, by preventing e6 to e5, making sure that the D knight will be permanently entrenched there. Basically forever. He's permanently entrenching it. So this one move here did this. It stopped the push here. It firmly entrenched these two squares, and it made this knight an outposted knight for almost forever, close to forever. Okay, rook to c8. Rook takes c8, and then king takes c8. Benko said, the rooks are traded, and to the unintended, the game appears to be heading for a draw. However, the position is actually very pleasant for white, because he can play for a win while black will be defending for a long time to come. Why is white better? The flexibility of the knight is one huge factor. The d6 square. The d6 square is what Benko's talking about right here. He has the ability to someday get to d6, and that'll be a huge factor. Okay. And my central space advantage and superior king also combines to make black's life very unpleasant. Now Benko is raving about the superiority of his knight over his opponent's black bishop. We'll dive far deeper into knights in the section of the pleasance of a knight, or the pleasure of a knight. So we're going to be doing that. We're pretty soon, coming up pretty soon. Well, he's going to try. He's going to try to basically somehow get his knight around to. Yeah. Or f3. There's many different routes to go there. Knight f3 was one. h6. King d2. King d7. e4. b6. And f4. Taking time to protect the pawn. Bishop f1. King d4 to stop the king from infiltrating in. Bishop g2. And now knight d6. And f5. Benko. White's position has improved, but black has everything covered. Now starts a long game of cat and mouse. I make little jabs at his weak points, and then take advantage of his others endlessly. He actually takes advantage of it. He'll take pokes at little targets, like what he'll do with his knight is potentially play like knight to here and take a poke at that spot, or if the king moves, he'll play knight here and then take a poke right here and make these become very weak as well. So he just takes little bitty pokes at his opponent's camp. So the first one, the first attack is b5 to take a little attack there. Just want to make sure I didn't overlook anything. Hold on. Okay, it's good so far. Don't be tempted to grab that. That actually loses. Grabbing that would lose. So knight, he goes back there. If you were thinking of grabbing this, king c7 and a4, king b8, right there, bishop takes, it takes, would be drawn because the king would not be able to infiltrate into the enemy camp. This would there's no way for white to get in, and all black has to do is stay over here on this side and stop him from coming in. So that's why he moved back. He just did little jabs at his opponent. a5, b4, a takes, b takes, bishop h3, knight c4, king c6, knight d6, king d7, knight c4, king c6, knight e3, king b5, king c3, g5, knight c4, g takes, and king c6, king d4, h5, knight d6, h4, and knight to c5 or c8, g3 or g2, bishop g2, knight check. He's trying to come in and see if he can't grab that. King b5, king c3, h3, knight g8, king c6, knight f6, bishop f3, knight king d4, king b5, and knight to d7, bishop d5, black avoided bishop takes, it takes, knight takes, king b5, king c6, knight there, there, knight h7, g2, knight g5 with a fork, king d, and then king e3. And then what you're basically going to do is you're infiltrating around. One of these is going to fall, so maybe you get here, you take, bishop takes, king takes, and this pawn runs. You come over and remember chicken, fox in the chicken coop, the fox in the chicken coop. If we can trade this and this off, and we get a free runner, we can allow the king to come over and get this pawn, and then the fox, which is our king, comes in and gobbles these. So bishop d, king c3, bishop a a2, alright, wait a second, a2 right there, knight f5, f8, king c6, knight h7, king d5, right. Oops. White has cat and moused his opponent into a near state of basically como, he says that thing. And now with black eyes exhausted, decided to carry out his final assault. White finally decided to carry out his final assault with knight to g5, b5, king d3. Suddenly blacks face some serious problems. This is Benko. White is willing to enter the race by giving up his b pawn, because the e pawn on it, and the e or h pawn, whichever one white creates, will prove faster. Note that the immediate knight takes here errors due to the king coming into e4. So this would actually be a mistake. So he's basically, this move, king d3, is a forcing move. Queen to c4, check. King e3, f1, king f2, bishop there. He actually played king g3, which is a blunder. Eventually, Crutchley wasn't the only one tired from the battle. Benko could have forced a win by playing back here. Let me see, where is this? e2. Which is actually an exclam at this point. because there's really nothing that you can really do. Because this allows the king to stop black's b pawn in key variations. King c4, knight takes. Uh-oh, did I miss something? What did I? Oh, got it right here. Don't know what I was saying there. That was funny. King takes. Knight d4. King c5. Knight takes f5. b4. King d2. And basically, if he tries it, you get your king there just in time to stop the pawn. But this makes the king too far away. So king c4, knight takes, king takes, knight d4, and then he played king c4, which Viktor Korchnoi actually blundered at this point. This was a blunder. Benko, Viktor Korchnoi cracked. Finally, Korchnoi cracked. He had to try playing this move up here. Instead of this, he should have played up here to try to, after this falls, get his king involved in trying to stop these pawns here. See, this put his king too far away. Like Benko's king was too far away from stopping this pawn. By playing c3, he's too far away from stopping Benko's pawns from rolling up the board. And so he should have actually played c5, which gets an exclam. It would have been a draw after knight takes, knight e3, oops, b4, knight e3, b3, knight d1, king d4, e, bishop d5, e, bishop f. King takes h, king d3, f5, king d2, knight b2, and king c3, and a peaceful conclusion would have actually elapsed here. He could have tried after this. He could have actually played a check here and back, or here and back, or here and back. Those areas, just have done that. But Viktor cracked under the pressure and played an inferior move. Happens to us all. See, we take. Oops, not that. Oops, not C. Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't C3. It was C4. Ah. He played C4, so I had to promote this to the main line. Not C3. I missed mouse click there. My fault. b4, 93, because now there's a check, so the in-between move check now comes into play. King d3. Now I take there. H takes, G takes, b3. And the rest is easy for white. Rook a2 check, king g3, queen a7, queen b5, e4, queen e5, king d3, f5, king h7, queen h7, h4, g8 check, oops, not g7 check, because that'd be captured, g8 check, king f4, queen c4 check, king g5, so basically the king's just moving up the board. King h6, king f8, queen g8 check, queen g8 block, queen d8, and f6. And at this point, it's game, set, and match. This is what he said here, Jeremy Silman. Are you getting a feeling for the power of cat and mouse yet? Remember, the concept in this chapter, remember that the concepts in this chapter, are not things to be memorized. They are ideas that need to be embraced. Since Bako is doing such a good job teaching us about the effectiveness of cat and mouse, I will let him drive the message home by borrowing one more example from Paul Morphy's life, games, and composition. This time he cat and moused one of the greatest endgame players of all time. Smyslov. You cat and mouse Smyslov. Wow. Whoa. Let's we gotta take a look at this one. Yep. Well, now I have to pull up another one. I gotta see this one. He's like one of the greats of cat and mouse, and I want to see how this actually took place. Smyslov, I thought he was going to actually do one on Capablanca. I thought he was going to do one there, but Smyslov's as well good endgame is the same. But that would have been interesting to have seen one against Capablanca. So, let's create this into a study. So basically what we're experiencing here is what he's trying to say is don't memorize the lines or moves. Just remember the ideas. If you're in kind of like a dead drawn position then just kind of maybe play a little bit. You never know what will happen. Your opponent might actually blunder and you'll win the game. You never know what could happen. So just play a little bit. That's Magnus played against Nakamura in one of the, I forgot which one it was, and he actually defeated Nakamura in a drawn endgame. So somebody who's actually embraced the cat and mouse is Magnus Carlsen, because they said he'll play a drawn game out all the way till 50 move, the 50 move rule, seeing if he can crack you. Find a little weak point in your wall and then poke it and see if water will start gushing out, and then maybe if you're considered a dam, he's going to try to find weak points so that the dam will break. And that's kind of the whole thing. White with an extra pawn, a superior king, and a strong king versus a bishop should win. However, it won't be easy. That's what the author says. This is what Banco had to say. The game was adjourned here, and after analyzing it at leisure, I realized the win would take quite a long time. If victory is to be acquired, the White King will have to find a way to infiltrate. Unfortunately, Black's king and bishop make it difficult. As a result, I decided that it was time for a bit of cat and mouse, and I would patiently maneuver, hoping to make Smyslov less alert. I knew that such long games took a toll on players, and he says he played passive positions that would be very hard for Black to deal with. So I sat down and resumed the game, ready for a leisurely siege. So basically he's just going to entrench his opponent. Sometimes you could take a castle by attrition. You set your forces up and you don't let anything in and you don't let anything out, and eventually they surrender because they're done. And that's kind of what he's saying, is he's going to slowly see if he can't outlast or make his opponent get weary and tired and make a error like Victor did. So the first, oh no, come on, don't lag on me now. Good, okay. The first move was played, f5, check. Banco said, the first order of business is pushing back the Black King. Isn't it optimum to place my pawns on vulnerable white? Isn't it? But I had no choice in the matter. He says it's not optimum to put his pawns on the same color as his bishop, as the enemy bishop. So, but he said, you know what? I had to push the king back somehow. I couldn't allow the king to infiltrate in. So f5 was played. I should add that f5, Black is completely passive and can't do anything but go back and forth. That White can find a way to finish off such a position. He says it virtually screams for a cat and mouse treatment of the position. Or we could say this, like what you said, Chess 360. It takes patience. It cries out for patient moves. Just patiently maneuver. And we'll get to see what happens here. King d7, knight to knight c4, and of course you don't want to take, because if you have taken, it would have been a disaster. So king d7, d7. Oh, bishop b5. Of course, if you're wondering why don't you just play bishop takes and then do something like this? because of that. Then if takes, we have fox in the chicken coop. There's no way to stop this pawn from queening. Alright. So king c3, bishop a6, king b3, bishop b5, knight d6, bishop e2, king c3, coming. Cat and mouse is starting to come, he said. But the more straightforward king a5 might have actually been a better idea. It seems to win by force because of bishop d3, a5, king c7, h4, h6, h5, bishop e2, knight e8, check, king d8, knight takes f, and analyzed by Benko, and it's actually a win. There's nothing really he could do. He could try to bring his king to e, and then you come in, and then if he takes, well, then you could take. So basically, if he comes in via this way here, so, but it actually stopped right here, so I'm not going to add to any of Benko's analysis. This is winning, but he's going in for cat and mouse right now. Got to be careful when you do that. Just be careful. King e7. Make sure all your lines are forcing. King there. 93. e7. 92. King d7. 94. Bishop f1. King d2. Bishop c4, king e3, bishop f7, king f4, bishop c4, king g4, bishop f7, king h, king c, Smyslov wrongly assumed that after king c7 that white wouldn't be able to win by the h pawn because the knight gets trapped. However, black has actually lost in any case. So knight to e6 was played here. This is also a line that he could have, rather than this, he could have actually played bishop e8, then b5, c takes, knight takes, threatens to play knight d6, or even knight back, even he could even play here or play here or something like this to get in here and fork. he could play something like this and try to fork when the king takes here and grabs this pawn. So that's an idea. The mixed idea is putting the c pawn and the h pawn is overwhelmingly strong, he said. So king to d7, king c8 also loses because of this move here. Knight f, bishop g. Now king to h5 and he comes in. Easy for white to win. Knight f8, check. And that's, by the way, an exclam, so kaboom. King e7, knight takes, bishop g8, king g5, exclam, f takes, check, king takes, g5. White's pawns are unstoppable since black must also take e5 break into account. So what he has to remember is that this break, if black gets his king here and his bishop here, and these basically take him down a little bit, he can actually, after trades, walk this pawn down the board. So he's in a world of hurt. f7, h4, king g8, f6 check, king f8, h5, bishop c4 to hold on for dear life, basically. King f4, king f7, king e5, bishop d3, king f7, no, say d3, h6, king g6, king e6, c4, king e7, bishop d5, f7, bishop takes, and then h7. And obviously cat and mouse patience go hand in hand. We'll be doing this one tomorrow. It's actually this gentleman. I'll put his name in for you. It's that. And it was white to move, so we'll be doing that one tomorrow. It's another example of cat and mouse. But it's such a beautiful example of patience. And we'll end on that. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Alright. I enjoyed them too. So, well, then I'll say I wanted to thank you all for logging on. Man, I gotta tell you, that was fun. That was fun because patience. I have to learn that, and I now understand why games take a lot longer sometimes when you reach higher levels. Now you kind of get an idea why they take longer. Is you have to slowly, like a grind your opponent down, kind of. You have to be patient. You have to, like what Banco said, was you have to poke and punch. You have to punch, punch, and then dodge, and then punch, and then punch. And then eventually your opponent, even the mighty victor, Krochnoi, actually fell prey to a inferior move. Even Banco did, from being tired. So just remember, save up your energy for the end game. And if you know you have a one end game, but it's going to take a while, just slow down and grind, grind, and sharpen. And eventually, what will happen is even the mightiest of tigers will break with enough as the torque on something, it'll break. So if you put enough tension on the tigers, they'll break. And that's just that's how it is. It's one of those things. Just patience, and just keep pushing forward. Like what Nightingale said, that we become what we think about. So if we think positive thoughts, like if you think you can, you will. If you think you can't, you won't. Either way, you're right. That's the example. And if you think you have a one position, go for it and do your best to be patient. I don't like the term cat and mouse, but if must be, and you have to do that, go for it and go for the win. Because you know what? If you have the position, do it. But every long journey begins with one small step. So every long journey begins with one small step. And we have to remember always to put our Grandmaster calculating glasses on and keep pushing forward. And like what Bruce Lee said, knowing is not enough, you must apply. Willing is not enough, you must do. And there are no limits to the human potential. There are plateaus at certain times, and we have to strive to get past those plateaus. And as long as you bring the Lord Jesus with you, anything is possible. And he also said he didn't fear the person who practiced 10,000 individual kicks. He feared the person who practiced one kick 10,000 times. So the one, like when we study the patience, or cat and mouse, or however we want to call it, that will help us to be practicing. And like our chest cruncherism is this: we don't give up, knuckle down, and get back up. And you have to treasure your victories and learn from your losses. And remember that mistakes do not define you. It's how you handle the mistakes that define you as a person and a chess player. And if you're talented, don't take it for granted, because there is a quote that says, hard work will beat talent because talent won't work. So we can't let that happen. We got to use our talents to, as they say, put the nitros on and let the gears down and let the speed on, go fast. And as long as you have the Lord with you, you know what? Who can stand against you? And you know what? We have to always remember this verse here that Job said, "The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." So you're not always going to have the best tournaments, but as long as you have fun at each tournament and you improve a little bit and you get to take them home and you get to show your friends and then improve and have fun, that's what it's all about. And when most are playing, my friends, and you're studying, I'll be studying with you too. You have to remember that you're a chess cruncher. It's a great responsibility because chess crunchers study. And you may want to play and do like video things and all that, but if you have a set time that you put in for chess or whatever you're doing, school, it could be school chess, it could be your job, whatever. Be a chess cruncher in those areas. Sit down and study. Take that time. You can't spend a second twice. So just remember, when people come over, or your friends or whoever comes over and says, "Come do this," I can't. I'm a chess cruncher. And if they say, come on, I'm a chest cruncher, and then if they say it again, just say, I hang up my coat, I hang up my hat, I sit down and study when most won't. I do, and that makes all the difference. And as Wesley so says, serve the Lord Jesus, and as I say, God bless. And I'll see you next time on Chest Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening. And Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow, and we'll keep pushing forward, and we'll get to go over another patient game, and have fun learning how to slowly, patiently maneuver to win. Great job, Team Chest Cruncher. Hoorah, be blessed. Keep crunching, and always, always keep studying and having a good time playing chess. And most of all, honor the Lord Jesus. And I'll see you guys next time. Be blessed and keep having fun. Bye-bye.